Welcome to Sisters of the Shadows, where mystery meets meaning. Together, we'll explore stories that spark curiosity and connection. Step into the circle, the shadows await.
Welcome back, Sisters of the Shadows, where the past is never really dead and the truth is always stranger than the stories we tell. Well, tonight we're stepping into a place where fear ruled harder than any demon, a place where a whisper could kill you, a place where even a 4-year-old child was chained in a dungeon as a witch. This is the story of the Salem Witch Trials, a year-long nightmare that turned neighbors into executioners, children into weapons, and a quiet Puritan village into one of the darkest chapters in American history. So grab your tea, your crystals, your comfort blanket, because this one's going to sit with you.
Before the screaming fits, before the accusations, before the hangings, Salem was already a powder keg waiting for a spark. The Puritans believed the devil wasn't just real, he was actively recruiting. Every misfortune, illness, and every bad harvest was Satan's fingerprints. Add in political chaos, land disputes, church drama, and the trauma of ongoing frontier wars, and you get a community living in constant fear. An interesting fact that I found is that Puritans believed the devil could appear as animals, especially black dogs, pigs, and birds. So if your pet acted weird, congratulations, it might be a witch. If you lived in a world where every bad day was blamed on Satan, how long do you think you'd last before someone pointed at you?
That's a good question. That's an interesting question. I really don't know the answer to that. I I would have to say I feel like for a long time, to be honest.
Right? I feel like it would be a matter of fact it would happen. Just thinking about everyone turning on each other in such a negative environment, like, it wouldn't be surprising if it happened.
Right. And I feel like back then, especially if you're a female, it's like, I don't know.
Do you guys think fear alone can make people see things that aren't there?
Yes, I really think that.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I mean, just even fear of the dark, you always have something in you that's kinda making you feel, like, creeped out, like, definitely fear alone could make you see things.
I know for me, like my coat is hanging on my coat hanger in the hallway, and like you have to pass it just to go to the bathroom, and like you don't know how many times I done jumped just for saying my old coat. It all begins in the winter of 1692 in the home of Reverend Samuel Paris. Two girls, Betty Paris, age 9, and Abigail Williams, age 11, start having violent fits. Screaming, caturring, throwing things, crawling under furniture, claiming visible hands were choking them. Doctor examines them and says that most unhelpful diagnosis in history. This is the evil hand.
So basically, he was like, I don't know what's wrong, but it's definitely Satan.
Basically, exactly, yes. The girls name 3 women as their tormentors. Tituba, an enslaved woman. Sarah Good, a homeless beggar. Sarah Osborne, who rarely went to church. 3 women who were already vulnerable, already disliked, already easy targets. And then Tituba confesses, but not because she's guilty, because she is terrified. She tells the court about a tall man in black, animal familiars, and a witch's book filled with names. This confession almost certainly lights that match.
So what I found interesting about this segment is that Tituba's confession is the only reason the panic exploded. Without it, the trials might have never even happened.
Right. I was actually thinking about that too. So, question: why do you think her confession made everything spiral so fast?
I would say that there was already, rumors and things rumbling, but this was like real tangible evidence, and that's pretty undeniable. I can see how this evidence would make people start freaking out because it's very specific and there was already rumblings of this happening. So that would be my take on that.
That is true. I agree with that. Another question: do you think the girls were acting, or did they believe what they were saying?
But that's a good question. In my opinion, I feel like maybe they could have been acting, but then I feel like it's real hard to, I guess I don't know what the term of like contorting, like how, I don't know, easy that is. I just feel like everything else seems like stuff a 9-year-old and 11-year-old could do on a regular. The screaming, throwing things, crawling under furniture. I feel like those aren't demonic possession or like witch spell curse. I feel like those are just average things that kids can do, you know? And so I feel like to me it might have been an act, but I don't know because I wasn't there.
Right. And I mean, I feel like maybe they were exaggerating a bit, or maybe it started off as play and turned into something else. But I don't know. Like you said, kids can do a lot of things. So I feel like it's hard to say.
I have siblings, and I'm the oldest. So it's like I don't know about this. So yeah, I do agree. Maybe there was exaggerating a little bit, but then again, like Jada said, we wasn't there.
Right. And so now let's talk about the justice system. And when I say justice system, I'm using that term loosely because the court accepted something called spectral evidence. And this means that if someone said your ghost attacked them, even if you were miles away, that counted as proof.
That's insane. So basically, you could be asleep in your bed and somehow still be guilty.
Exactly. And other tests included searching your naked body for witch marks. The touch test, if touching you stopped someone's fits, you were guilty. And then some believe that witches could not recite the Lord's Prayer perfectly, but one man accused did, and they hung him anyway. And so these judges were so convinced that the devil was everywhere and they believed witches could teleport, shapeshift, and send their spirits out like drones. So someone accused you guys of witchcraft back then. What evidence do you think that they would use against you?
Well, for me, I'm very clumsy and I always run into stuff and have bruises all over my legs. So maybe, I don't know. You're looking for wish words? I mean, that maybe that.
I don't know. I would feel like, I mean, I talk with my tongue, right? So I don't pronounce all the words correctly. So I don't know if that's probably an evidence right there they'll use against me.
Right. I don't know. I feel like for me, it's either putting me on the spot to recite the Lord's Prayer perfectly. I'm somebody, you can't put me on the spot like that because now I'm drawing blanks and it, I'm gonna be like, it's something along the lines of this, and then boom, now I'm a witch. Or I feel like on the more funnier end is I'm somebody who is always sleeping, always napping. And so I could picture somebody being like, you know what? She was sleeping at the time of that I fell down the stairs. It had to have been her. She was the only person asleep, and I'd be caught up for that or something.
Next, I want to talk about Bridget Bishop, who was known for wearing bright clothes and running a tavern. In Puritan society, that was basically a crime. She was hung on June 10th, 1692, and she was the first of many to face this fate.
This one hurts. Dorothy Good, also called Dorcas, was only 4 years old when she was accused. The girls said her spirit bit them. She was thrown into a dungeon, chained, and left in the dark. A child. Her mother, Sarah Good, was executed. Dorothy survived, but witnesses say she was never the same.
Wow, that's honestly hard to believe. A 4-year-old? That's not justice, that's just cruelty.
Burroughs was a former minister in Salem, and the girls claim that he was the leader of witches. And on the gallows, he's the one that recited the Lord's Prayer perfectly. Like I mentioned before, that was something which supposedly couldn't do. And people in the crowd actually started to doubt if he was a witch, but the judges ordered his execution anyway.
Wow. Next, I want to talk about Giles Corey, and this would be probably considered one of the most brutal cases. He refused to enter a plea because if he did, the court could seize his land. They stripped him, laid him in a pit, placed a board on him, piled stones on top for 2 days. His last words were, "More weight." And an interesting fact about Giles Corey is the only person in American history legally pressed to death is him, which is so crazy.
What do you think kept him going? His stubbornness, his love for his family, the rage, the fact that he didn't want to give up his land.
I feel like at the beginning, it would probably be mostly about, like, his family and his land, but as it kept going for 2 days, there's gotta be some stubbornness in there and a mix of rage. Like, I think it's all of the above because how I can't even imagine what was going through his mind, so I feel like it was probably a very big mix of emotions.
Yeah, I agree with that. The panic finally started to crumble when the accusations reached people with power, including the governor's wife. A respected minister, Mather, stepped in and said, "It is better than 10 witches escape than one innocent person be condemned." Governor Phelps dissolved the court. Spectral evidence was banned. Most prisoners were released, but the damage was done. Around 40,000 to 60,000 tragically died in Europe over the centuries, and over 20 in 1 year alone in Salem. Fact: in 2022, the final convicted victim, Elizabeth Johnson Jr., was officially cleared. It took 330 years. That's a long time.
Wow, that is a really long time. And the fact that they were still working that process that long is crazy. The Salem witch trials became a symbol of mass hysteria, scapegoating, and the danger of unchecked fear. Some theories suggest that ergot poisoning, a fungus that causes hallucinations, might have played a role. Others say it was trauma, repression, and political manipulation. But the truth is far more simple. Fear is contagious. And once it spreads, it's almost impossible to stop. So do you guys think that something like the witch trials could happen today?
I'm gonna have to say yes because So many things I never thought would happen have happened in our world. So I'm gonna say anything's possible because, like you said, fear is contagious. And if it catches a large enough group of people, it definitely could cause some chaos.
I would have to say yes and no. And the reason being because a lot of things is accepting now in today's age, versus back then. But also, like Erica said, fear can be a dangerous thing. If it reach like a good amount of people, but I also feel like a good amount of people knows, and it's like, oh, well, if they don't come my way with it, I don't care, type of thing. Yeah, most no and yes.
I'd say it can happen today. Like Eric said, anything is possible. We've seen some crazy things happen in this world. And if it's already happened once, history sometimes repeats itself. And I'm not saying it should happen again, but I'm saying it might be possible that it does. Like she said, fear is contagious. And we see examples of mass hysteria all the time, and we have the internet now, so information spreads so quickly that it could reach millions of people in a matter of seconds. So I feel like for me it's possible.
Definitely. I fully agree with that.
And so the real horror of Salem isn't the witches, it's the people. Ordinary neighbors who let fear turn them into monsters. A community so terrified of evil that it became the evil. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of the darkest corners of American history. Stay safe, stay curious, and remember the shadows are always closer than you think.
You've been listening to Sisters of the Shadows. Share this episode, follow us on TikTok, X, and Instagram, and keep the light close until next time.